The world's creepiest abandoned military bases. Mankind have been waging war on each other since time immemorial, and with lots of wars, there come lots of military bases, many of which got abandoned as the wars they were built to fight end, with many now taking up a haunting image of their former self. So stick to the video till the end to know the complete details, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more exciting content. Now, let's begin. Devil's Slide Bunker. With a name like Devil's Slide Bunker, it's no wonder that this abandoned World War II observation bunker has gained an infamous reputation for sending shivers down one's spine. Situated above the San Francisco Bay shoreline, it provides a view of the sea to the west. This bunker is one of dozens that may be found across the bay. They are now abandoned, but the military used to post soldiers inside to keep an eye on the sea. The fear of a Japanese invasion was quite serious at that time, especially following the strikes of Pearl Harbor and the lesser-known attack on Elwood, California. Though the fear of an impending Japanese invasion has dissipated, the fear of the bunker still remains. Maginot Line. In the run-up to World War II, the French reinforced their borders with Italy, Germany, and Luxembourg using concrete subterranean fortifications based on trench warfare techniques learned during the First World War. The notion was that they'd built an impassable barrier that the Germans would have to navigate around. The route was linked together via subterranean railways. It had subterranean lodging for troops, complete with an air conditioning. By invading the nation through Belgium and the Netherlands, the Germans were able to avoid this French masterpiece. Today, the remnants of the Maginot Line remain as a reminder of the hubris of the interwar French Republic and the horrors that befell upon France due to it. Duga Radar. The Duga radar system was built by the Soviets during the Cold War to attack as an early warning system from ballistic missiles. They accomplished two things for the 13 years. They kept the Soviets secure from unexpected assault, and they did nothing since there was never an attack. However, the prospect of the nuclear war during the Cold War and countless misreadings and crises that could have led an exchange of nuclear weapons makes the Duga radar system an ominous sight. For decades, the people operating such radar station both in the Eastern and Western Bloc held the fate of mankind in their hand just as much as the politicians and generals. These massive metal monstrosities still exist on the eastern edge of Siberia and in the old Ukrainian Soviet Republic long after they were abandoned. Shivering Sands MAUNSELL Army Fort. As though it were some type of rudimentary fixed machine, the Shivering Sands Army Base emerged from the ocean like an AT-AT walker from the Star Wars universe, with structures resting on 4 legs apiece. They appear to be capable of walking. Built as anti-aircraft fortifications during World War II, they now serve as quiet sentinels of bygone era, having been rendered obsolete by the war's end. These structures today conjure up images out of a dystopian post-apocalyptic world. ZELJAVA Underground Air Base. The ZELJAVA Underground Air Base, which was built during the 1960s in anticipation of the World War III, is located deep beneath the border between the states of Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. It held fighter planes and was built to survive a direct attack from a nuclear weapon with a yield of 20 kilotons. It was one of Europe's largest and most expensive military constructions, costing $6 billion to build. The facility was destroyed during the Yugoslav wars in the 1990s, when explosions destroyed a majority of the subterranean base. Because of the number of mines in the region, local authorities continue to utilize the location for live training exercises. The Inuvik Dome. Throughout the Cold War, the entire globe waited anxiously as the specter of a nuclear war between the communist East and capitalist West always seemed to be on the horizon. The Arctic was also involved. The West used a system known as Distant Early Warning (DEW) to identify incoming bombs headed for North America. The governments of the United States, Canada, Greenland, and Iceland terminated operations of the system once the Cold War ended, and the dome-shaped buildings were abandoned or demolished. The remnants look like haunted scene from the planet Hoth from the Star Wars. Wolf's Lair. During World War II, Hitler lived in a number of bunkers, but none was more infamous than Wolf's Lair in Poland. This steel-reinforced concrete edifice served as Hitler's residence for almost 800 days throughout the war, and it was here that he made decisions such as the establishments of extermination camps. He survived an assassination attempt in the bunker, and much of the bunker was demolished after Germany surrendered. An apt end, one would think, for a structure that was utilized in so much death and destruction, and even though it's now covered with moss and inhabited, it's still a popular tourist destination. Mikkelsen Safeguard Complex. The Mikkelsen Safeguard Complex in Tacoma, North Dakota was a radar system meant to locate and destroy missiles launched towards the United States. It was designated as Experiment. Along with the radar, the facility has 30 Spartan anti-ballistic missiles and 16 Sprint missiles. Mikkelsen didn't even stay in service for a year because of a contract with the Soviet Union that limited the amount of weapon system any country could have. On February 10, 1976, the facility was decommissioned. The facility today serves as a reminder of heights mankind went to during the Cold War to gain one-upmanship in the nuclear arms race. Saint-Nazaire Submarine. Saint-Nazaire in France is one of the biggest, having been erected by Germany during World War II. The building has 14 pens to keep German submarines safe. Anti-aircraft weaponry was installed on the top of the granite, concrete, and steel structure, which sank below the surface. Saint-Nazaire was the site of the famous British raid to stop the usage of dry dock for a larger German battleship during the Battle of the Atlantic. However, hidden away under the concrete and stories of British glory is the use of forced and slave labor by the Nazi Germans in the construction of the facility. Greenbrier Bunker. The Greenbrier is a West Virginia resort located outside of White Sulphur Springs. The Greenbrier Bunker, a secret facility intended to shelter the Congress in the event of a nuclear war, is hidden 720 feet into the slope below that resort. It was constructed in 1961 and was maintained by government officials posing as Foresight Associate, an audio-visual business contracted by the resort. The bunker included its own power plant and water purification unit, as well as decontamination chambers, a 25-ton blast door, a clinic, a lab, a restaurant, conference rooms, and more, including an armory of firearms to instill order in post-nuclear apocalypse in America. The government was forced to decommission the facility when the Washington Post disclosed it in 1992. This facility was to serve as the base for the continuation of the American government and the reconstruction of the United States post-World War III. Johnston Atoll. An atoll rises from the Pacific Ocean situated between the Marshall Islands and the Hawaiian Islands, which was handed to the U.S. Navy by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1934. The military used dredge and fill equipment to extend Johnston, the largest of the 4 islands, to 596 acres from its initial 46 acres. It was utilized as a naval refueling depot, an airbase, a nuclear and biological weapons testing facility, a covert missile base, and a storage and disposal site for chemical weapons during that period. The location was declared as a bird sanctuary by President Calvin Coolidge, which begs the question of why the US poured so much Agent Orange on it that is now too polluted for human habitation. Wunsdorf Soviet Camp. In Hospitality, Germany, 25 miles west of Berlin, the Wunsdorf Soviet Complex, the largest Soviet headquarters outside Russia, was cloaked in mystery. The facility accommodated 75,000 men, women, and children for decades before the collapse of the Berlin Wall. Built during the Cold War, it served for decades as the base of the Soviet armed forces in East Germany, which would have served as the vanguard of the Soviet formation if the Cold War turned hot. The location was abandoned after the fall of the Berlin Wall, leaving 100,000 rounds of ammunition and numerous items of garbage, furniture, and household supplies behind. It today stands as a shell of its former self. That's all for today, folks. We hope you have found the video informative, and if you would like to know more about creepy abandoned military installations and bases, follow our channel for similar content. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon next to it for regular updates.